Devin White responds to criticism about his play from media and a Buccaneers legend, and it's now or never for the Buccaneers to bounce back and go on a run to stay in the playoff hunt in the NFC. We tell you exactly what needs to be done in order for the Bucs to come away victorious on Sunday. Let's go.
You are Locked On Buccaneers, your daily Tampa Bay Buccaneers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to the Locked On Bucs Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We are your daily podcast covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, and we thank you for making us your first listen or view of the day. I am James Yarcho, joined by my co-host, finally reunited, Mr. David Harrison. You can check out all of his work over at Sports Illustrated's BucsGameDay.com. Check me out over at SB Nation's BucsNation.com. And of course, you can follow everything on Twitter at Locked On Bucs, at JArco_Bucs, and at DHarrison82.
And we do thank you again for making us first listener, your first view of the day. This episode brought to you by BetOnline, who has you covered more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. We're going to talk about what we're confident in and what we're concerned about this weekend as the Buccaneers host the Los Angeles Rams, two of the worst recent Super Bowl winning teams in recent memory. But first, the Devin White drama continued into Thursday. Started last Thursday, continued into this Thursday, or this most recent Thursday. And Devin, after refusing to talk to the media on Wednesday, which he's allowed to do on Wednesday, but eventually has to talk to the media because that's part of the job, did speak to the media. And of course, he was asked about the comments, James, that Warren Sapp made on his Instagram page, where he said he would rip the C from Devin White's chest due to his lack of effort on a very key play where a Baltimore Ravens ball carrier, receiver, catcher, whatever it was able to escape down the sideline while Devin White so visibly jogged during the play, I think is the best way to explain it. Anyway, video courtesy of Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times at Stroud NFL. He posted it on Twitter. Let's hear Mr. White's answer.
I don't got no response to that. I mean, people that know football know what was going on. You know, I was on the far side of the field on our sideline just for my coverage, and a play happened on their sideline. I took off running. You know, obviously I wouldn't run the fastest over there, but I mean, my teammates know what's going on. You know, what comes with me with on the field and effort. So I mean, it really ain't no response on that, man. Salute to him. You know, he did a great job. He won a Super Bowl here, and it's freedom of speech. He can say what he want to say. So I mean, I respect him.
All right, James. So that was Devin White, former first-round draft pick, team captain,
$100 million
NFC Defensive Player of the Month for the month of September 2022. Get Live 45. What is your take?
I was really disappointed in his play on Thursday, and I agreed with pretty much everything that you said following the game. I agreed with a lot of the criticism that came his way. I think his answer is somewhat telling. At the same time, it was a little bit dismissive. And I don't know, I guess you expect more from your captain, right? You expect him to own it. You expect him to talk about, needing to be better, needing to go 100% all the time, every play. I still agree. I think you've mentioned it. I know for sure Evan Klosky's mentioned it. I think Todd Bowles, guys resting on their Super Bowl laurels comment was directed at Devin White. But I will say this, he did respond to Greg tweeting about this particular moment that Stroud had the video of. Greg Allman tweeted it out, and Devin White responded to Allman, and he said, quote, "Let's dead this, Greg. The play happened, bro. I play a lot of snaps, and I'm in chase mode 24/7. I got a little more fatigue than normal because of that long series, but I got to be way better for my teammates. And that's what I meant by my teammates know I apologized." Tom Brady also retweeted that tweet and said, "It's going to take all of us. We got you," at Devin White _40, which of course is Devin White's handle. So it sounds to me like he did own up to it, but he owned up to it to the people that he feels matters. To him, owning it up to the media doesn't matter. He owned up to his teammates, apologized to his teammates. His teammates have his back. I just hope that this was kind of a wake-up call. Dude won NFC Defensive Player of the Month for September, and it's been a downhill, slide since then. I hope this is kind of that catalyst. Every season has that moment, at least every storied season, where you look back and you say, that was the moment. And maybe this is what that is for Devin White, and that helps spark the defense.
Yeah, Devin White getting called out for being a liar and then apologizing for lying is going to be the moment that brings this team together. Look, it could happen, but bottom line is Devin White got caught in his own lie. And that's what this story is really about. Look, if being upfront with the media doesn't matter, then getting angry at the media when they go in on you with criticism doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
Honestly. And that's where I have an issue with this whole thing, because Devin White, first and foremost, when the Buccaneers were winning, right? When they were winning games, they had a winning record, when they were top of the NFC South because they earned it, Devin White's talk was still louder than his play. And we mentioned that on this very show. Like our conversation of Devin White's talk being louder than his play is not new. It's not recent. It's not as of Thursday night against Baltimore Ravens. This is something we've talked about this season consistently because it's been this way for a while now. Talking about being bored against the Atlanta Falcons, talk about Jameis Winston, how you knew he was going to turn the ball over. Like, we got it. You know what I mean? And some of it's funny. I get it. I understand it. And for a fan base, absolutely laugh it up. You're a fan. You're allowed to do that. But as a team captain, that's different. And then this is exactly what I was worried about when we were talking about this and exactly what's happened. And then you're caught doing what you were doing on that field. And let's be honest, and I know we're all focusing on one play. That wasn't the only play, guys. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the only play that Devin White had an issue. Okay. But then Todd Bowles comes out and says, I have no issue with what Devin White did. No, that's BS. You absolutely have an issue with what Devin White did. You just don't want to say it publicly. But there's a better way to handle that than lying to the media. Then Devin White doesn't want to talk to media. Devin White says, no, I ain't got nothing to say about it. But then somebody reminds him, hey, if you don't talk to the media this week, you're going to get fined. Right? Go back to Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined. What does that mean? You have to talk to the media. And if you're a captain, you need to talk to the media, especially when things are not going well. I was having this conversation with a couple friends of mine in a group DM, and I wrote something that I want to read to everybody, not because I want to quote myself, but because I don't think I can put it any better than this, James. I want to know what you think of this. Here's what I wrote to them about Devin before all the conversations happened on Thursday. Anyone can lead when everything is going well. Real leaders know how to struggle and don't shy away from being the face of failure because they want to be the voice that brings solution. Baseball, football, military, business, don't care. It's all the same. Leadership looks different sometimes, but it's all rooted in the same soil. Blood shed will rot the weeds and solidify the oak. Devin is a weed, and there's only one thing you can do with a weed. Now, I'm not talking about physically getting rid of Devin White, but just like we talked about with other things, this has got to change. This version of Devin White has to go away. Not necessarily Devin White, the physical person, but this version of Devin White has to go away. I'm put this as bluntly as I can. This dude needs to grow up. You knew what they wanted to talk to you about on Wednesday, and you said no, thank you. And then someone, most likely in the PR department, came to you and said, you have to talk to the media, bro. So you knew you were going to talk to the media on Thursday. You knew what they were going to ask you about. And you said, I was on the other side of the field. No, you weren't. I ran towards the play. No, you didn't. My teammates know what I bring to the field. They know what you brought to the field. What you brought to the field that day was garbage. It was absolute trash. And then you lied to the media. You lied straight to their face. Greg Allman tweeted that quote, not because he needed to call Devin White out, because he knew that all of the film warriors out there in the fan base, that all the media members who watch tape and watch the replays and all the Warren Sapps of the world would call him out for him. And that's why Devin said, let's dead this. I apologize to my teammates. If you apologize to your teammates, it's because you had a reason to apologize. And it's not because you were on the opposite side of the field. It's because you laid off on that play. And if you apologize to your teammates, it means you messed up and your head coach had damn sure have a problem with it, which means he lied to the media. The problem with this Buccaneers team is that they're not being honest about what is happening with this Buccaneers team.
Yeah, I find it hard to argue with any of your points. You take a look at Devin White, the player, and he can be the best player on a football field on any given Sunday. But as you pointed out, this version of Devin White is not helping.
But you know what else could be really great? Prediction Strike. Our friends at Prediction Strike. More on Devin White coming up, but right now we're going to talk Prediction Strike, the world's first sports stock market. I wonder which direction Devin White's stock is going in right now. You can invest in professional athletes just like stocks. It's a lower risk alternative to sports betting, and athlete prices move based on performance and supply and demand. If you invested in Jalen Hurts 1 year ago, you'd be up 48.2%. If you invested in him 2 weeks ago, like I did, you're still up, just not quite as impressively. If you invested in the Bucs offense, you're probably hurting right now and looking for a big game to raise those share values. And you can do that with Prediction Strike. You can also invest in other sports like UFC, NBA, Major League Baseball. I have stock in Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets. That's not doing so well for me right now. Everyone knows you should be investing, but why not invest in what you actually know as a football fan? Download the Prediction Strike app. Download the Prediction Strike app and use the code LOCKED for a free share when you sign up and make a first deposit of $20 or more. That's promo code LOCKED for a special one-time giveaway. Plus, Prediction Strike is going to choose one person who signs up with the code LOCKED and make a deposit to win 100 free random shares. Those shares could be quarterback Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, which would be worth up to $3,000 if you were the lucky recipient of those. So make sure you invest in what you know. Use a promo code LOCKED at Prediction Strike, the stock market for sports.
Can we pause the pod for a second? Are we paused? Great. Because you got to try this. And I'm talking about Built Bar's new reimagined flavors. We're talking cookie dough topper, coconut brownie bar, coconut brownie topper, and for those of you in the holiday spirit, white chocolate peppermint granola. It's built to take on the granola bar, so it's more filling and still insanely tasty. And the candy cane brownie puff, Built Puffs are like biting into the universe's most delicious cloud. That's what it is. It is a treat for all the senses. They're revolutionizing nutrition as we know it with 100% real chocolate, 17 grams of protein, and shockingly low sugar and calories, 130 calories. Get 15% off your order right now by using code LOCKEDON15. That's LOCKEDON 5 at built.com.
Thanks again for making the Locked On Bucs podcast first listen every single day. Also, make sure to check out NFL key predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games of the week, including Sunday and Monday Night Football, plus betting advice from BetOnline, available on YouTube, Odyssey, or wherever you get podcasts. We will have our bold predictions and players of the game coming up in our next segment. But first, we're going to talk about what we're confident in and what we're concerned about. James Yarcho, as I try to figure out my English speaking abilities and find them once again, please tell the good people what you're confident in.
It happens to the best of us, David. I was having issues with it before we started recording, so I guess I just transferred to it. See, there we go. Transferred it to you, and then I just got it back. I am confident in the fact that the Buccaneers defense is going to return to early season form. The Rams are the second worst run offense in the NFL. The only team worse than them is Tampa Bay. So we are going to have quite the battle between Leonard Fournette and Darrell Henderson to figure out who sucks more. And my money's on Lenny to win. Is that the right phrasing? I think Leonard Fournette.
Pretty sure you just said Leonard Fournette sucks worse than the Rams rushing offense.
I was rephrasing. Leonard Fournette will outperform Darrell Henderson. That is what I'm trying to say. I'm confident in that.
But will he outperform Rachaad White?
More on that later. The Los Angeles Rams as an offense are averaging under 300 yards per game. They currently have a -5 turnover differential thanks to Stafford's 8 interceptions, which is one more than he has touchdown passes this season. And the Rams are averaging under 17 points per game. Stafford has been sacked 24 times. And even though the Buccaneers don't have a takeaway since the Kansas City Chiefs game, there's still a +2 in turnover differential on the season. Stafford loves to give up the football this year. The Buccaneers are going to be able to find a way to finally start getting some takeaways. They are going to be able to get to Matthew Stafford, and I think we're going to see a performance similar to the one that we saw, maybe not quite as explosive as the one against the Saints, but if we can get the Dallas game defense back in this one, I think it's going to start a run here for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm most confident in the power of bruised egos. And some feelings have been hurt. Devin White's feelings have been hurt.
You heard
and Mike Evans, I think, has no interest in returning to losing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Levante David, who was actually putting in effort in that play in question, has no interest in losing. And that's the thing that I'll say is that there are a lot of people on this team who are still putting in the effort and coming up short. And I think the power of bruised egos is going to work in the Buccaneers' benefits this weekend. That's really the best way that I can say it, is that, you know, at the end of the day, look, the tweets, the retweets, they're not going to matter. And I certainly hope that behind the scenes, when Tom Brady is retweeting Devin White saying, hey, we have your back, he's just trying to help out a young player in the court of public opinion, which does not affect the final score. But behind the scenes, there are group texts or phone calls or FaceTimes happening where actual leaders are developing young leaders into real leaders, and that is going to develop into a winning effort on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's darkest before the dawn, right? These guys have been, came in with championship aspirations, and they've been kind of smacked around a little bit. And you're right. It's there is a powerful internal component to facing that level of adversity. I'll tell you what I'm concerned about, and that is what every Bucs fan is concerned about: Aaron Donald and the Rams pass rush. Last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when this offensive line was actually good, Aaron Donald, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 8 tackles. This season, he's got 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hits. Like, Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald. And this offensive line is nowhere near as good as it was when they faced Aaron Donald last year. So getting that interior pass rush, if they focus all their energy and all their resources and triple team Aaron Donald, guess what? The Rams can generate pass rush elsewhere. They have 24 sacks as a team on the season. So it's very concerning when we've seen how the internal clock of Tom Brady has been sped up because of the lack of protection. When you're going up against a team that can generate interior pass rush, exterior pass rush, and create opportunities to get after the quarterback, it could make for a long day for Tom Brady.
It really, really could, which leads me to my concern, which is that the egos aren't bruised enough yet.
Yikes.
Because what I heard from Devin White was excuses. They were lies and they were excuses. And I see frustration with the media calling him out. And that's kind of the other part of this whole crux. And look, this isn't like a you lied to the media type of thing. Okay. This is just you lied, period. Like, you're not taking accountability for what you're saying or what you're doing on the field. And again, when you don't tell people that are telling the stories the information, that's fine, but you leave no choice but to make assumptions or trust your own eyes. And that's exactly what is happening out there. Honestly, look, if Todd Bowles comes out the very first press conference and says, we had some issues on the field, not just with Devin, but with other people, we've got to address them and we're going to address them. And then the very first press conference is, yes, including Devin White, people made mistakes. People didn't play their hardest all times. Those things have been addressed eternally. Those who owe retribution to their teammates understand it, and they will do it this weekend. This whole thing would have gone over a lot less dramatic. Let's just be clear about that. And what that shows me is that people are still reaching for excuses. And if you're still reaching for excuses, the whole it gets darkest before the dawn means it ain't dark enough yet. There's still some clouds rolling in. There's still some light to get blocked. And that could potentially mean another loss to another team that on paper you would say, well, it's the Rams. Well, it's the Rams who are 3-4. The last 2 Super Bowl winners are combined 6-9. Nice. These are 2 very bad teams right now. And if you lose to another bad team, maybe then you hit rock bottom. But to me, James, while we're sitting here saying this is a team that just needs to make the tournament, a la LeBron James' Lakers, it looks to me like inside the locker room, they said the same thing. Guys, we just need to make the tournament. And when you're the actual competitor in the arena, that's a huge problem It's okay for Locked On Bucs to say, guys, they just need to make the tournament. It's not okay for Tom Brady and Devin White to say it, though, if that is, in fact, what's being said.
Well, a loss on Sunday could mean the end of what was supposed to be a very promising season for the Buccaneers. It could also mean one and done for Todd Bowles, which would be a real interesting move. But if that happens, it means Todd Bowles is going to be looking for a job. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. And that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. I got a great catering chef job thanks to finding their listing on LinkedIn Jobs, and my LinkedIn profile matched their candidate search. Add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Wrapping things up here on a Friday edition of the Locked On Bucs podcast. And David, let's get weird. Let's get psychic. Let's get bold. It's prediction time, and we're going to start things off with those bold predictions. I told you all, I am confident in the fact that this Buccaneers defense is going to return to early season form. So my bold prediction in this one, they are going to get the double hat trick. 3 sacks, 3 takeaways against the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday.
That's 2 threes.
It is 2 threes. And it's also Tom Brady's 2-3 season.
Each member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front 7 is getting a sack. That is my prediction. The starting front 7 is getting a sack against a Los Angeles Rams team that I heard is giving up a lot of sacks.
They are.
That is my bold prediction, including my player of the game, which is Devin White. After everything that I've just said about Devin, let's be honest here. When Devin is loafing, it hurts the defense. When Devin is electric, it helps the defense. And if Devin White really wants to apologize to his teammates, he needs to do it with his play. And I'm sure he knows that because there's a reason he was successful in college. There's a reason he had success in the National Football League. Where Devin goes, this defense will go, honestly, from an energy standpoint. So I look for Devin White to be the catalyst of either another subpar performance, because if my concern comes true and he hasn't hit rock bottom yet from an ego standpoint and he continues to go out there with the lack of effort and lack of concentration and blown plays that we've seen so far this season, then the defense is going to go with him. But if he steps it up and if he takes that step towards being the linebacker we know he can be, then the defense will go with him as well, and the Buccaneers will have a very good afternoon.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I said it with Evan. I think we're going to see a bounce back from Devin White. I do think he is starting to take some of this stuff personally, and he is going to be on a mission to prove that he is the linebacker that we've seen over the course of the last couple of years. My only concern is that he's going to try to overdo it, which will lead to some mistakes. And then we'll have people on the tweeters talking about how, oh, there he goes again. He's blown a coverage. He over pursued. He missed a tackle. And it's right back to square one. My player of the game is one Michael Lynn Evans. The guy owns Jalen Ramsey. I don't know why he struggles against Marshawn Lattimore, and then he goes out there and makes Jalen Ramsey look like just an absolute fool. Last year in 2 games against the Rams, Mike Evans had 16 receptions for 225 yards and a touchdown. Big day coming for one Mike Evans. I'm real excited to see what he does. David, thanks to our friends over at BetOnline.net. Let's take a look at a couple of other games before we make our picks for the Bucs and the Rams. I deleted last week's picks, so I don't remember how we did on those. But
not good.
Yeah, given the way that we've both been this season, I'm assuming we didn't do great. Let's take a look at this week's slate that we have here. The Buffalo Bills minus 11.5 at the New York Jets.
I'm going to take the Jets against the spread, but the Bills on the money line.
I will take the Bills with the 11.5 points.
Yeah, I don't blame you if you do it. I just think the NFL is too good at parity for that to happen. Chargers favored by 3, visiting the first place NFC South Atlanta Falcons.
See, and I put this one in here because what does Vegas know? There is no reason that the Chargers should only be a 3-point favorite against the Atlanta Falcons. It almost makes me want to make this an upset, but I got to go with the Chargers. Even without Keenan Allen.
I was going to say the Chargers haven't done well, honestly, but can I just say, go back to preseason?
Yeah.
How many times did we talk about the Chargers and Justin Herbert specifically being handed a whole lot of hype that they hadn't earned yet?
I mean, the AFC West as a whole was handed a whole lot of hype that they did not deserve.
I mean, valid. That's valid. I'm also taking the Chargers. Speaking of the AFC West and hype, Las Vegas Raiders, who are favored by more points than they have wins. 1.5 point favorites against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is the James Yarcho upset special. I'm taking the Jaguars. They're going to win this game. The Jaguars have been competitive in what seems like
really an upset special though when it's 1.5 points and it's the Raiders on the road.
Yeah, it's still.
I'm taking the Raiders. Baltimore Ravens by 2.5 against the New Orleans Saints.
I'll take the Ravens and the points.
I'm taking
all
the
aboard
Ravens
the Gus Bus
and the points as well. Tampa Bay Buccaneers favored by 2.5 points against the Los Angeles Rams. James Yarcho, you already predicted this game, and that was a score of
27-24.
And this is what I like about this. I want everybody still watching the episode this time. I want you to pause it. I want you to go down to the comments. Well, if you pause it, you didn't hear me say this. So don't pause it. Unpause it. Go down to the comments because everybody talking about how much I hate Devin White and I'm down about this Buccaneers team did not watch up to this point. And therefore, you are a better Bucs fan than they are. Buccaneers 31, Rams 17.
Oof.
Bucs are going to bounce back in a very big way and put a whooping on the Los Angeles Rams.
And for just the second time this season, break 30 points. The only other time they did it was in a loss. This season is drunk. It makes no sense, and I hate it. All right.
And the Commanders are going to win 4 straight. That's 2022.
Who do the Commanders have this week?
Vikings.
Oh, no. Vikings by double digits.
We'll see.
We'll revisit that.
I did actually predict the Vikings to win, but we'll see what actually happens.
All right. We are going to get out of here. Thank you again for making Locked On Bucs your first listen or view of the day. Make sure you are checking out all of the biggest headlines in all the sports on Locked On Sports Today, available on YouTube and wherever you are listening to this podcast. Reactions following the game, you know what to do. Give us a call at 813-444-5841. Check out what David's doing over at BucsGameDay.com. Check out what I'm doing over at BucsNation.com. Follow everything on Twitter at Locked On Bucs, at JYarcho_Bucs, and at DHarrison82. Hope you all have an absolutely outstanding weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good luck to my son who is playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday with his 6th grade team. Shout out to them. Let's go, we Vikes. Fire those cannons. We thank you so much for joining us right here at Locked On Bucs.